One of the things I wanted to ask you about that was I've never, like I said, I've never been on a ballistic missile submarine. I've never been out to sea on one. I've toured a few in dry dock, but I've never been out on one. And
We would have had a good time.
yeah, but you guys have all that extra space to party on, right?
Right.
But
I've been in a wrestling match in this control center.
yeah, definitely. We'll talk sea stories later if we got some extra time. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, like our submarines are built really well, right? We follow subsafe standards, and we
Yeah.
generally build
Yep.
our submarines to last a really long time, especially our ballistic missile submarines. And you mentioned structural damage from launching nukes, right? And that was one of the things that I originally asked when I saw this new North Korean submarine was it obviously has to be kamikaze, right? There's no way this old thing is going to survive launching three solid fuel nukes out of the sail. You know, much less not even just the back of the boat that's designed for it. It's going right through the top of the sail. So, you know, I feel like this boat is going to just be completely trashed regardless of what happens to it afterwards.
Probably, yeah. When we did our one bird shoot on Kentucky, um, we shot. We were supposed to shoot tubes 1 and 13, and there's a funny story about why we picked 1 and 13. That's which I'll tell you. But so we ended so coolant water leak in tube 1 during the countdown. We had to axe that and hold that missile and not shoot it. We did shoot tube 13. Another funny story about tube 1. Um, but so we shot tube 13, and the whole boat wobbled like if you jumped on a trampoline, if you jumped on a kid's trampoline and then tried to stand still when not bounce. So everybody was wobbling and bouncing, not bouncing leaving the ground, but like kind of wobbling. And we bent the deck by tube 13 just a little bit. If you were shuffling your feet and you passed tube 13, there's a little bit of a ridge, little bit of a warp in the steel there. So we after that, we decided if we had to shoot all 24, the boat would just sink because Kentucky was kind of in bad shape anyway.
Well,
And
I
and
guess
that's
I
with
guess it's the
the
same for us, right? North Korea is just a kamikaze boat, right?
so yeah, so that's a long way of saying that. Yeah, I can't imagine assuming that we Tridents have kind of a stressful launch system that's very abrupt, and I assume the North Koreans have the same thing. And yeah, that'd be hard on that old boat to do that. Anyway, funny story about not launching 2-1. So what you do, and I don't know if I should be saying this, but when you're about to
No, go
shoot,
ahead, please.
when you're about to shoot a Trident missile, standard procedure is you go in with grease pencils, you draw a bunch of penises and goodbyes on it and stuff. Draw a bunch of dicks and balls on it,
Of course you
and you
do.
send that off into space.
Why
So,
wouldn't you?
so we did that. We did, yeah. Why would you not do that? So we did that with both tubes, 1 and 13, because those are going into space and never coming back, right? Anyway, like a cooling water leak, tube 1, like I'll hold the missile, send it back into port. I'm like, oh shoot, we need to go back into that tube. We need to go back in that tube and scrub all that stuff off. It was all over the guidance system computer, all over the missile. It was great. The captain was even in on it.
Man. Oh, that's good. Oh, oh, I'm crying a little bit. That was so...
Well, while Erica collects himself, so you also said there was a funny story why you chose 1 and 13. Is there any more to that
Oh
story?
yeah, yeah. At the time, I was not quite as senior as I could have been. I hadn't qualified senior in rate during the moment when we did that shot. I was kind of a mid-level guy, and I was standing what was called the Control and Monitoring Panel Watch, or the Camp Watch, which is a nuclear weapons security guard in the missile department that also looks at a tube environmental control panel. And you can see like the humidity and temperatures of all the tubes, and you make sure the heating and cooling is going right, and you're kind of an environmental monitor. So I was standing camp, and I was bored, so I was listening to um, different sound powered phone circuits, or different communication circuits. Just kind of turning the knob and eavesdropping. And just by chance, I found the captain and the XO talking about the upcoming launch, which we had already knew we had been picked to do a launch. So I'm got the phones in my ear, and I'm listening, and the XO is like, Captain Sir, the direction is to. It's so funny. I can't believe this actually happened. The XO is like, Captain Sir, the directive is to have two random crew members randomly select two different tubes to shoot the two missiles. And then the XO says, pauses, and he says, "But sir, what I'm hearing from the weapons department is that the next two tubes to go in for maintenance or tubes 1 and 13. So, sir, I recommend we randomly select tubes 1 and 13. And the captain says, very well, XO, randomly select tubes 1 and 13.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was great. I tried not to laugh. I just hung up. I was like, that's all I need. That was good.
Oh, that's good. That doesn't surprise me either.
So if you have like you said, you had you launched one, and then the second one you had a problem with. Now, in the
Right.
event of a real world situation where you actually had to launch all of them or several of them, would you be able to continue? Say the first one worked, second one had a problem. Would you be able to continue on firing other ones, or would that kind of disrupt
Absolutely.
the whole process?
Yeah, you'd have a couple options. So you could ignore that. So I mentioned there's footprints. Footprint is the downrange collection of targets that a missile hits.
Right.
And each missile is assigned a footprint. So we could either, if we didn't have any spares, say we were in that case going to launch all 24, and one of them was broke dick, we would just be able to not hit one of those footprints because we would need all the other missiles for other footprints. But if say we were doing a Ripple 12 shoot and we had extra missiles left over and we still wanted to hit that footprint that was assigned to that broke missile, you can go into the software and do something called missile to footprint reassignment, and you can say, hey, the footprint or tube 1, reassign a different footprint to it, or tube 1's broken, take that footprint that was assigned to tube 1 and give it to tube 20 or whatever. So yeah, you can if you have available missiles, you stop covering a certain footprint, you can reassign a new missile to that same footprint and shoot that. It'll just go to the same spot.